What's up, everybody? My name is Kier, and you are watching The Important Things That Really Matter. Today, we're going to be talking about what to do when your wife or your girlfriend steals from you, part 3. What to do when your wife or your girlfriend steals from you, part 3. Now, if you haven't looked at part 1 of what to do when your wife or your girlfriend steals from you, part 1 or part 2, you need to go back and look at those videos, because those videos are very, very important. Got a lot of very, very useful information in there that will help you tremendously and help to save you a whole lot of time, save you a whole lot of money, and save you a whole lot of pain and suffering. All right, before we go on to it, I'm going to say fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. Now, I'm going to tell you about a particular person that had found out that his wife had a gambling problem. And the only way that he found out that his wife had a gambling problem was because he came home from work one day, and on the door of his house, there was an eviction notice. So the man's like, why is there an eviction notice on the front door of his house? Well, there's an eviction notice on the front door of his house. When he talked to his wife about it, he found out his wife had a gambling problem. The reason why he found out too late that she had a gambling problem was because he never did the bills with his wife. He gave his wife 100% control over paying the bills, and he just went out and worked. And so we see right now that that is not a good idea. And like my play dad had told me, always pay the bills with your wife together every month so that you know what's going on with your bills. If you don't, you will have the following happen to you, possibly. This guy found out his wife had a gambling problem because he didn't help her pay the bills every month. Paid the bills together with his wife. He would have known that the bills were not being paid. But since he gave all that trust to his wife, she was able to take that money that was supposed to be going towards the bills, like the mortgage, and now none of that's being paid, and so now they're being evicted, okay? Very, very sad situation. I'm quite sure that the husband was extremely, extremely angry with his wife when he found out that his wife was not paying the bills. She's got a gambling problem, and in addition to the gambling problem, he's now being evicted from his home. So this is also the reason why you want to sit down and pay the bills with your wife every month, so you know exactly what's going to which bill. And then you make sure that when the bills are filled out and you write all the checks out for all the bills that's going to be paid for that month, you make sure that you take those envelopes and those bills and put them all in the mailbox yourself, to make sure that you keep track of what's been spent and what's not been spent and what's been sent off, okay? Very, very important thing that you need to do that. If the man had done the bills with his wife, paid the bills together with his wife every month, he would have been found out that she had a gambling problem. She may not even had a gambling problem if he was doing the bills with her, because she wouldn't have the extra money to be running back and forth to the casino. Or even if she was able to use some of the money, she wouldn't use as much money. Okay, you follow what I'm saying? If he had been sitting down and doing the bills, paying the bills together with his wife. All right, now, there's another guy. Once again, fair use, fair use, fair use. There's another guy that I know. He told me that his wife caused him to be evicted from not just one house. His wife caused him to be, and their family, to be evicted from 2 houses. Did you hear what I just said? This man's wife was responsible for causing him and his family to be evicted from 2 houses, not just one. Do you know the reason why she told him she didn't pay the mortgage? She took the mortgage money that was to provide for a roof over their head, housing for them. She took the mortgage money and put it on her daughter's private school. So the husband is like, you took the mortgage money and paid your daughter's private school with it? So that was more important than having a house. more important than having a roof over your head. That was her excuse. So I fault the guy. Number one, when the wife caused the eviction of the first house, that was his problem. That was her fault. But when she went ahead and did it again and caused the second house to come to cause them to be evicted again, that was his fault. Because this man, instead of being a man, he was being a simp, okay? Knew that his wife had done this the first time. So when that happened the first time, what he should have did was start paying the bills with his wife to make sure he watched over her every move financially, to make sure, because if somebody's dumb enough, and you heard exactly what I said, if somebody is absolutely dumb enough to pay for her daughter's private school with the mortgage money, instead of looking at the priority of how important it is to pay for the mortgage a month, then that person needs to be watched. Because that's plainly, what do you say, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever that you will not pay the mortgage when you have the money for a house over your head, you know? So anyway, the second time that she caused their family to be evicted from the house was his fault. Because when she did that the first time, he should have got rid of her. That's something that I probably would have did. When she did that the first time, he probably should have got rid of her right then and there. Then he wouldn't have this problem the second time. So I'll leave it up to you to what you want to do with your wife. But to me, if somebody's that dumb to sit up here and not pay the mortgage, which means eventually you're going to get evicted, a man doesn't need to be with somebody like that. So anyway, what is the solution to the problem? Whether you have a woman who has a gambling problem, or whether you have a problem where you're being evicted from your house because of your wife, what is the solution to the problem? Pay the bills together every month with your wife. Pay the bills together every month with your wife. Pay the bills together every month with your wife. That way, when you're doing that, you are keeping track on what's going on with all of the money. You are keeping track with what's going on with all of the money because you all are paying the bills together. She knows that you're going to be paying the bills together, so she knows that you're going to find out if she overspent or not. Follow me? So, once again, if you have not watched What to Do When Your Wife or Girlfriend Steals From You Part 1, or What to Do When Your Wife or Girlfriend Steals From You Part 2, you need to go back and look at Part 1 and Part 2, because there is some very, very useful information, some very, very important information to save you a whole lot of time, to save you a whole lot of money, and to save you a whole lot of pain and suffering. There was a guy, he found out that his wife was buying all types of stupid stuff with the money instead of paying the mortgage. When this guy found out that his wife was buying stupid stuff instead of paying the mortgage, he found out 24 hours before him and his wife and his family were supposed to be out of the house. Did you hear what I just said? The man found out that his house, that he was evicted from his house 24 hours before he was supposed to be evicted, and his family. Because his wife went out and bought some designer purses and bought some designer this and designer that instead of paying the mortgage. And now they don't have no place to live. Which, I'm not telling you what to do with your wife, but to me, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your wife, but to me, if somebody's dumb enough to buy dumb stuff instead of paying a mortgage and having a roof over your head, to where they're going to cause you and your family to be homeless because they out here buying stupid stuff, somebody like that, you need to get rid of. Somebody like that, you need to get rid of. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You got to make that decision for yourself. Your wife should be an asset to you and not a liability. Your wife should be an asset to you and not a liability. An asset is somebody that brings money into your pockets. A liability is something that keeps taking money from your pockets. And if you are dating somebody and every time you turn around, they're always taking from you, always taking from you, always taking from you, and never giving you anything back in return, you need to leave them alone. And you better not be thinking about marrying any person that's always taking from you and you're never getting anything back in return. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying a woman should be giving a man money on a regular basis, but if it happens to be that way, that you might need her to give you a few dollars or something, it shouldn't be no problem because you've been providing for her for a majority of the time. Should be no problem. It shouldn't be a problem for you to get a meal out of your wife. That's not finances, but still, you should come home and have food. You should be able to come home and have food waiting for you, already cooked when you get off from work. You should have food waiting for you, especially if you're allowing her to stay home and maybe run a business or allowing her to stay home and raise the kids. There should be no excuse that you don't have dinner waiting for you when you get home from work. There should be no excuse as to why your house is not clean when you get home from work, especially if you allowing her to stay at home and raise the kids or to run her business. You follow what I'm saying? Should be no excuse. These are the things that you're getting back in return. Are you getting a regular meal every day? You get some breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Is the house clean? She taking care of the kids? If she's doing all these things is actually adding value to you. It's helping you. It's taking strain off you, stress off of you. While you out there working, she's taking care of the house and taking care of stuff and fixing you a lunch every day as you go to work. Okay? Follow what I'm saying? Your wife has got to be an asset and not a liability. If you are dating a woman, she's constantly taking from you all the time, you rarely able to get anything out of her, you can't even get a meal out of her, then I suggest you don't marry her. Leave her alone. Is she argumentative? Leave her alone. Does she got a smart mouth? Leave her alone. She always causing you headaches, always causing you problems. Leave her alone, because a wife is supposed to be bringing you peace. A wife is supposed to be bringing you peace. In the Bible is written, let the peace of God rule your heart. Peace.